All right, so today I want to share with you what your doctor can teach you about email marketing. Without you even noticing it, your doctor's done usually a lot of a few key things that can actually create trust between the two of you. If you have a good doctor that you like, you should feel really comfortable with them, right? You should be able to share with them anything personal going on in your life or in your body or all of that stuff. You should have a trusting relationship with your doctor, especially if you're going to take their advice, right? And I think this is something that we can really learn from without needing to go to medical school. But that maybe bedside manner is something that actually can become really valuable when you're creating email sequences or creating any email marketing at all. And if you're a student inside MPQ, you should already have heard this and probably practiced it. But I still think it's something that's really valuable to always keep at the top of your mind whenever you're creating any type of content marketing, but specifically, I think with creating sequences and launches and stuff like that. So let me explain what I mean by this process. So when you go to the doctor, usually there's three key things that happen, and you can replicate these in your marketing. The first thing is that the doctor is going to ask you about your symptoms. So the doctor is going to find out from you what's going on, or is going to ask you some really key questions like, do you ever experience this, or have you noticed this coming up? That relate to your symptoms. So these are the things that you're currently experiencing right now. These should be really obvious to you, and you can pretty much give a yes or no. And sometimes when the doctor's asking you about these things, you're like, oh my God, yes, actually, I didn't know that this was related, but I have been getting headaches, or I have been, having a nosebleed lately. And instantly, by the doctor asking me key questions about my symptoms, or finding out about my symptoms, I already start to trust them a little bit more, because it seems like they understand what I'm going through. If I was telling my doctor my symptoms and he was like, whew, weird, I would be like, well, I'm not going to trust the solution that you give to me or the prescription, because it seems like you've never even heard of this. Like, is that the right thing to do? So by them kind of understanding my symptoms, or even predicting them and asking me about them, instantly creates a level of trust between us. And I want you to do that in your email marketing as well. So you'll notice in a lot of my emails, I might say something like, have you ever experienced this? Or if you're anything like me, you might feel like this right now. Or when it comes to email marketing, you might be wondering, what the hell should I write in these emails that actually will lead to people wanting to open them and wanting to buy from me? That's me resonating with your symptoms. And I want you to do the same thing, regardless of what niche you're in. Talk about what your dream client is currently experiencing right now. A lot of times it's kind of the nightmare that I sometimes talk about, like talk about some of those things that they're experiencing. And it doesn't always have to be like their pain points, but they should be symptoms, things that are coming up. So a symptom could be like, let me think of like something. Yeah, like if I'm at the doctor, a symptom could be something as simple as like, have you noticed yourself really craving apples? So that's not really necessarily a pain point. I'm like, oh my God, I can't stop craving apples. But if I have been, when the doctor mentions that, I'm like, holy shit, you're right. Yes, that's related to that. So that's why I don't always relate when people say, like, make sure you're always touching on pain points in emails. It doesn't always have to be a pain point, but it should be something really relatable, and it should be something that I am experiencing. So a symptom. So in our email sequences, one of the emails that I always recommend in our impact sequence formula is to write a symptoms-based email. Then the next thing that your doctor does generally is, kind of start diagnosing you. So once they've gathered all the symptoms, they might say, all right, here's what it sounds like. sounds like this is your main problem. And, this is where you want to get into getting people to understand and become problem aware of what's going on with them. So if you're somebody who is helping people overcome PCOS, which is, what some sort of hormonal imbalance, I think, they have to know they have PCOS before you can start telling them how to fix it. Or if you're helping someone with digestive issues, if they just feel like they are gaining weight, but they don't realize that it's actually a digestive issue, then they're not going to be interested when you start selling your digestive course because they just want to lose weight, right? So you need them to understand their diagnosis. So that's the second key phase in the sequence. Then the last thing that you want to do is you want to talk prescription. So what's the solution? What are my options? What can I do? And what do you recommend? This is generally what happens when you go to the doctor with something going on, right? And you want your email sequence to do the same thing. One of the biggest, I see two key problems that I see a lot of people do, even if they are following my like doctor strategy formula. And these are the two things that I want you to avoid. Number one, diagnosing too soon. You want someone to trust you before you're like, sounds like you've got this. Have you ever just been like out chatting with friends and they're like, sounds like you've got a gluten intolerance? And you're like, who are you? Why are you telling me? Like, it's not really, you don't trust them. They're just like somebody you just met at a cocktail party or something, and it actually degrades trust rather than creating trust. So don't diagnose before you've created that trust and like understanding between the two of you. And the other thing that I see happen a lot is giving the prescription before the diagnosis. So it really is important to go in the order that I'm talking about here. But if you start saying like, here's how to solve your problem, like I mentioned, let's say I actually had a client in the past who has a program all about how to overcome anxiety. And one of the key things that helps people overcome anxiety nutritionally apparently is getting their digestion in check. So if she starts talking about digestion all the time, everybody with anxiety who's on her email list might be like, Harry, are you talking about digestion? I have anxiety. And if they don't know that link, which maybe you do because you're the nutritionist or you're the doctor, if they don't understand that link, they're not going to take you up on the prescription. So you have to make sure that you're doing symptom, then getting them to understand and become aware of their problem or their diagnosis, and then lead to the prescription. So if you jump the gun and start selling way too soon, you're actually only shooting yourself in the foot. It only becomes more of a problem for you. So this is really my secret, and I'm sharing it with you now. If you want to know exactly what we share in every part of this process, it is in phase 2 in MPQ. If you're a student, go back to that phase. If you're not, let me know, send me a DM and I can tell you more about the course. But this is really the key to showing up as an expert and to get your potential clients to trust you before they ever purchase from you, and how to lead them to make a sale, how to make a purchase in a way that feels really good to them rather than you selling them something and them being like, I don't know if I want to go gluten-free. You need to take them through the process in a way that gets them to say, wow, seems like she really understands what's going on with me. I'm going to try this gluten-free thing. All right. I'm not going gluten-free, but I will chat with you guys soon, and let me know if you have an email sequence. How is it converting? And are you going to try out adding in a little bit of this doctor formula into it?